Hello and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. And as you can see here, coming into the city of Downey, we're starting to get a pretty real traffic problem that we're going to need to sort out in this episode. And we'll also go around and improve some other connections around the city to hopefully prevent more traffic like this from occurring. So as we can see here, coming into our street traffic layer, you can see pretty much our main road coming in and out of Downey is very backed up with traffic, as everyone has to come to this single intersection to do anything that relates to coming or leaving the city. We do have this connection over here, but it only really serves for sort of this area of the population. I think for everyone else in the city, it's much quicker to take this road up and out, so this road isn't getting valued quite as much. Now, fixing this is going to be pretty tricky, as there's not much space to get any other road connections through here. It'd be nice if we could try to get a road connection from here up to Mesa, but with the elevation change, that's pretty much just impossible to do. So pretty much what I think we have to do is maybe figure out a few more areas where maybe we could draw a tunnel that'll come up from one of these areas up to here, so that maybe this portion of the city can take a route that comes out here, the middle part can take this main road still, and then all the people over here can take this road. Now, I think we could start by improving this connection here by maybe bringing a bridge across these tracks and connecting over here, since for all of these people, if they wanted to leave the city, they have to come all the way over to this intersection before they can come back. And I think by the time they're at this intersection, it's just quicker for them to come over to the main road and go up that way. So to do this, let's delete this road, and let's see what we can get if we just drag this straight across here. I know it's going to try to force a connection there, but we don't want that. We want a bridge, which we'll probably have to raise up a tiny bit, and then we can turn this into a nice concrete bridge, as we've been doing with most of our other roads. And then next what we can do is, I think we could probably delete that road and then try to connect over here. Although we're getting a collision issue. I think that's due to our collision box over here. We will extend this just a little bit so that when we start raising up, it won't interfere with the build that we currently have. So I think it has to come over just a bit more to be straight on. And we're going to get this collision issue no matter what, due to, I believe, the collision box that's over this. So as long as everything looks pretty realistic, I think we're okay to just tell it to build anyway. So I'm okay with that, and hopefully that'll give us a much better connection out of the city. We will come through and upgrade this road so that it's a little faster to move on. And hopefully, if we hit play, we'll start to see people moving that way. So that still doesn't handle the main issue of the majority of the city still taking this larger road out of the city. Now, looking around here, it's really tough to figure out what could work. I think maybe our best bet might be this corner here, just bringing it straight up through here, and it looks like it's too steep, so maybe we can bring this over a bit more, although I think that still said it was too steep. Yeah, too much slope. So as much as I don't want to do this, I think this could really help out a lot. And if we just bring it up and have it come up somewhere over here, and then we connect it over to our highway connection, I think this wouldn't be too terrible. I'm hoping it distributes the traffic instead of redirecting everyone to this road. We will have to see how that happens. I think a good way to tell would be checking this route, which now prioritizes this road, which is what we don't want. So maybe we bring that tunnel out from somewhere over here instead. So let's go and delete this road. We can still have it sort of go underground there, but we'll have it curve around and maybe connect an intersection or two over. So it looks like we can still get this tunnel to work. So we'll place that down like so. And maybe now if we find our main bus line, it's still coming this way, which we really don't want. We can already see the flood of cars coming in through there. I think maybe to bring some more value to this road is we might just have to make this connection a little bit more straightforward. So that's going to require us to probably demolish a good portion of the city that has grown up here. So we'll continue to pull this back, I think until about there. And then we can even delete this section of the highway. And we'll have it curve a little sharper so we get a bit more space to slowly bring that road up. So we'll sort of cut this a lot sooner, give it much more space, like that, and then we can have it curve and connect like so. And now our biggest issue is just bringing this road up the hill in a much smoother way. So let's grab this, and I think we might even delete this connection and just go straight off of here. See what happens. So we still get too much slope all the way until about here. And I think if anything, we probably want it to curve this way, since that's where most of the traffic will be coming in and out of the city. So I think if we do something along the lines of this and then smooth out a bunch of this terrain, I don't think that would be too bad. Although we might want to get this road to come off a little straighter from that intersection. So we'll get it to about there, and we'll accept. And then let's figure out how to make this land work. Okay, so I think this now should work a little bit better. The terrain doesn't look too bad. The slope doesn't look too terrible either, although it does get a little steep in the middle there. But I think the city will be able to do just fine with our new connection. So of course it's going to take a while to see the effects of this, but I think something that might help is if we come into our destinations layer, we can see our numbers spreading out across these roads. This one's still pretty low, but I think as this area becomes more developed, it'll continue to get higher and higher. But it looks like these two roads are going to be carrying the majority of the traffic in this area. So let's give it some time to sort itself out and see if this is any better. So let's take a step away from our road infrastructure for a second and come back here to our new train station that we placed and take a look at how it's doing so far. So it looks like it's able to handle these increased numbers pretty well, and we're only about halfway full on the capacity of the station itself, so that's good to see. One thing is our Jackson to Modesto line is very full, so let's take a look at that line and see if there's anything we can do to make that better. So coming to the Jackson end of it, it looks like the demand is reciprocated on both ends, with the station over here actually being overloaded at the moment. So I think it's finally time to retire these steam engines and find something faster and higher capacity. Alright, so I think this is the train we're going to run. It's this EMD AEM-7 train with a pretty high top speed, and 6 of these cars here with a capacity of 22. These only have a loading speed of 2 times because they're individual cars. These multi-unit trains have much faster loading speeds, so that might be something we have to keep an eye on as we continue to move forward, especially with our Jackson station being very busy with trains. But I think for now this will do just fine. And I think first, before we do that, we have to upgrade our tracks to electric. Alright, so now we should be able to replace those trains, and I think we might also duplicate it just so we can get a third one running. It'll be a little quicker, a little bit more consistent, and we'll have to come back and see if these numbers end up going down. So here's one of these new trains now, starting to pull into Jackson. It's going at a nice, comfortable speed of about 105 right now. I'm not sure if that's due to anything or if it's just still going up to top speed after being upgraded, but we'll just double check that this can get up to its top speed, as it'll definitely fill up and get a full load from this station. So about halfway through the trip, it's getting pretty close to its top speed, and it should reach it any moment now, right here at 124 miles an hour. Let's go down to the normal speed so you can see just how fast this goes through the landscape. I think this train will be really good for us. We will have to keep an eye on the finances, as it is a new train. We want to make sure that whatever we replace it with isn't more expensive than the money it's making. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But I think now we can go back to Jackson and see if there's anything else that needs looked at. So our next biggest line waiting at Jackson is the Jackson, Winston-Salem, Albuquerque line. And I want to make sure that there's demand out here first before we add more of those trains. So there's definitely demand to go to Jackson. And in Albuquerque, there's a little bit of demand to take the line into probably Winston-Salem, since we have the direct line to Jackson also coming from Albuquerque. And it looks like this train did just pick up a full load of people from Albuquerque, so maybe there is a decent demand. If we take a look at the finances, this train is doing pretty well for the most part. I am maybe a little hesitant to put another train on that track just because I don't want to overload this track that goes out to this side of the map. I don't want to get a ton of trains running on here and have traffic with trains, but we will keep an eye on it, and if we think that it does need an upgrade, we'll come back through and do that later on. So coming back to our destinations layer, it's a little odd that we still only have very few people taking the highway up to Montgomery, and it seems like they all still want to take this road. So I think we'll want to discourage that, and it looks like especially here, that traffic really starts to build. So a pretty quick and simple solution I think we can do to fix that is pulling this road back, and I know we moved it farther down the road in the last episode for the highway, but I think if we actually connect the end of this road up to the entrance of the highway, we'll actually get more people choosing to take that route. So it is the end here, so there was not much traffic to begin with, but maybe now doing this connection, more people will favor taking the highway to Jackson instead of this small little 2-lane road that we can see here looks very busy, and all of them get stuck in the truck traffic as well. So looking here at our numbers, it looks like we were able to divert a little bit of the traffic to our highway. However, we still do have a decent number of cars still taking this road, but I think I'm okay with that, as it seems pretty evenly split, so one won't get overloaded over the other, and I'm sure there's different uses for each road. And now coming back to Downey, now it's had a little bit of time, it looks like our traffic issue is pretty much cleared up here, as we have a good amount of people taking this road in. If we come and click here, we have a good amount of people coming in through this road, and a good amount of people coming in through this road. And even over here is starting to get higher numbers. So now we have 3 pretty spaced out and equally used entrances to the city. So hopefully we won't see our traffic begin piling up yet again. So now another thing that I want to do is, I think, connect this highway to some of these cities over here. I know we have this big road that connects Downey, San Jose, and Mesa together. That has a connection to the highway. But I think if maybe off of here, or maybe even off of here somewhere, we can get a highway to come out and connect to these 2 cities and maybe one to San Jose. I think that'll help out a lot with encouraging people to use this highway more, as at the moment we still have 0 people using it, which could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. I guess more people could be forced to use our public transportation since they're not using the highway, so that's one way to look at it. But I think we're going to start off with by bringing the highway pretty much off of here. We'll delete this, have a interchange so it connects back up to here, and then we'll just continue to bring the highway through these hills and connect up over to San Jose somewhere. Maybe it'll be to this road again, or maybe this one. Not too sure yet, but we'll figure that out once we get over there. So to do this, let's pull these roads back a little bit. So we'll do that. We'll bring this back to probably there for now. We'll come into our street constructions, and then we'll want one of these intersections here, which, looking at these, I think maybe this one will work best actually. So we'll just line this up facing the direction we want. Or actually, this one doesn't put us in the right direction both ways. So yeah, this only allows people to get on and off of the highway in one direction, so I guess we'll see if we can use one of these other ones. We will want it to be fairly small though, so whichever one we pick needs to be a little small, and I think this one might work out. So if we just do this, maybe we can go medium size here. But we'll go with the medium size interchange right about there. And we'll have to change some of this around to get it to work, but first let's worry about connecting our highways. So we'll come into our streets, grab our 3-lane highway, and drag these around. Now those connect up pretty nicely. We will come through and downgrade a lot of these on and off ramps, as we don't really need them to be that big, especially since maybe over here they probably won't be getting that much use. But then we can just reconnect up these roads and we'll be good then. Alright, so now let's go back to our highways and let's just make sure we can get out of here. So it looks like we will be able to turn through these bridge supports. So pretty much now it's just a matter of continuing our highway across here and getting over to San Jose quicker than it would be to take this road. Alright, so now we have our highway over here near San Jose. It comes up, comes underground under this set of tracks, and then we have to use a bridge to get up this hill as quickly as possible, and then comes back around and connects back to this intersection. So we'll just come through with our smoothing brush, get it just about as wide as the highway, and just smooth out this area real quick so that we get rid of some of those rough edges between the highway, and we can smooth out our tunnel entrances, make them look good, and hopefully that'll draw more people to take this highway. It might not be quicker between San Jose and Downey, but it should definitely be quicker from San Jose up to Mesa. So we'll see how that pans out if people end up using that route, but hopefully that'll work and we'll start to see people use the highway on this end. We did delete this road, and I think we could just replace it. So we'll raise that up onto a bridge as soon as we can. And for this one, we'll go with maybe one of these old steel bridges, although that doesn't really line up well with the highway. Not sure why we keep getting collision issues, but I guess we'll be forced to use this concrete one so that the pillar doesn't crawl over to the highway. And we'll leave it as this. We can come through and upgrade the rest of this road later on if it becomes useful, but for now I think that works out. So it looks like we're starting to get some people going from Mesa to San Jose to use this highway instead of this road. So hopefully that number continues to climb, and maybe we even start seeing people from San Jose start taking the highway up to Mesa. We'll just have to see. I think these roads are very similar in length and speed. We did downgrade this to hopefully encourage more highway usage, so maybe that makes a difference in the long run. But we'll just have to keep an eye on it and see how it goes from there. So just looking at this highway and maybe figuring out some ways that we can make it a little bit more efficient. I think we could probably get rid of this curve here, and we're already bridging over the gap. We might as well bring it out even more and sort of bridge across here. So that'll cut out a good bit of distance out of the drive and maybe encourage a few people to take this route instead. So now we can come back to our highways. And we can connect that up like so. And I still want it to look good. So something doesn't quite seem right there. Maybe we'll bring this back just a bit more. Try this curve. I think that looks a good bit better. So we'll do that. And then we'll bring the other one around. And that's going to, of course, be collision because the highways are pretty close, but now I think that's a much better bridge over this gap. It still doesn't really allow us to do anything with this area here, as much as I'd like to have an intersection or something come off of here so we can come down and reach Winston-Salem and Albuquerque. I just don't know if that's possible right there without completely destroying the landscape. I do think maybe there's an opportunity here to add an intersection, and then we could bridge across this valley over to this spot and then go from there. I'm just not too sure how we'd handle that just yet at the moment. Maybe this spot was a bad spot for a highway, but I think it looks really good for what it is, so I'd like to get it to work as much as possible. I think this might just have to be something that we just hop right in here and try to do, and then we'll make it look good later. So let's just flatten out a nice flat portion for where this intersection will be. I think right about there is probably enough space. We can delete these roads. So we'll delete this all the way back to about there. We'll have to come back through and flatten this portion out. Now we should be able to come into our street constructions section, and maybe I was kind of hoping we could get a bridge near the top there. But maybe this will work. So I think our best option might be this intersection. It's going to be pretty small, so hopefully that doesn't cause issues. And maybe we could go up to medium. Medium doesn't look too bad. And large gets a little bit too big for the space. So let's maybe just try medium and see what happens with that. So we can do that. We'll come through and we'll upgrade these to... I'm not sure why we're not able to downgrade these connections. And we can just change the look of them so they look more like off-ramps. So we'll do that. But now we can try to figure out how we're going to connect these. We'll pull that probably back to there. And over here we'll pull this back a good bit as well. So then we'll come back to our street constructions. We'll get this in as like an intermediate piece so we can get this curve better. Although we might want to bring those back closer together. So we'll bring those back to tight. Place it right about there. And then we'll connect up like so on both directions. We'll keep it land. And then over here is going to be the tricky part, as this might end up with some pretty tight curves. But I still think we're able to do this. Yeah, that doesn't look terrible. I think we still might delete all this and throw in one of these just for the sake of keeping the spacing the same. At least until we're done with the bridges. So that can do that, and that looks fine. We'll come back like this, and now we have our intersection up here. So then next thing we would do is pretty much just bridge across like this, and that's quite a large bridge that we're building, and it's a very steep angle. We could do sort of a suspension bridge, and that wouldn't look terrible here. I think that might add some nice character to the area. We're still a good bit higher than where we want to be. I guess another option could be, instead of doing that, we could wind our way down the hill. So maybe we build up a little area where we can come down here and then connect up. Let's just see if we can get that low. So if we did go the steepest angle, we can get it to connect to land. Alright, so we finally were able to get this highway down from that higher elevation, and I think it's at a point where we can get it to go really wherever we want. So I think that's about the extent that we'll do in this video. We will come through and make this area look nice again. We'll repair the landscape, make it look mountainous again, and then I think we'll leave it off as that. Alright, so now after some smoothing and roughening of the terrain, I think we're finally at a place where it looks pretty decent. Well, there is this little spot here that we could just smooth up quick, and hopefully that should start, hopefully this will work in the end. If not, again, we still have a good looking highway coming through our map. I'm sure as the cities continue to grow, demand will grow between them, and so on. But let's just come back to our destinations layer and take a look and see how our routes have progressed as we've made these connections. So it looks like people coming from Mesa to San Jose really value the highway, as we have a pretty good number here. Still not sure why the route from San Jose to Mesa isn't getting used. Maybe it just has to do with the way this intersection is being just slightly longer than this, so the pathfinding prefers the road over the highway. we'll come back and sort that out at a later time. But I think over here is a pretty good success, and looking at our traffic layer, all the traffic in the city of Downey is now cleared up. As we can see, nothing waiting here. The city seems to be growing back into this hillside pretty well. And over here we're starting to get traffic issues, so maybe we did just end up moving it farther down. We'll just have to see. Maybe we do need to connect this road up to over here so that there's not so many stops. I'm not too sure what the best way to go about that would be. Let's just try really quick to just move this road over to the point where it intersects here. So maybe that'll help out. Of course, we'll never be able to know for sure until we just try it and let things pan out. But we can see a pretty good line of cars back up there under the bridge. Hopefully it hasn't gotten all the way over to here, so it hasn't yet. But let's move on to the side over by Montgomery, and we still have a decent amount of people using this highway. It seems like the preferred route is still this road, but I guess I'm more happy that we're splitting the traffic than funneling it all onto one road. So I'll consider that a success. And I think that might be all that we do on the highway for now. I think we'll continue to focus on some other public transportation things in the next couple of episodes. Maybe we'll come back to our cargo hub over here and continue to connect up more routes, as the demand for goods has only gone up since we've last left it off, and I still think we can connect our machines up to a couple more places. But other than that, I think that's going to be all that we're going to do. So with that, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.